What if I told you that a simple quarter coin from 1967, the one you might have dropped in a vending machine or found in your car's cup holder, could be worth nearly $1 million today? Yes, $1 million, and no, this isn't a collector's fantasy or a clickbait dream. This is real, this is happening, and this might be your coin. Imagine holding a piece of your past, only to discover it holds the key to a future you never thought possible, a debt-free life, early retirement, a new home, or even complete financial freedom. One coin. One chance. One moment to change everything. So don't blink. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal why the 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark is sending shockwaves through the numismatic world, and how one rare variety just sold for $4,999,000. Let that sink in. A 25-cent coin. Sold for nearly $1 million. Let's dive in. The year was 1967. The United States was knee-deep in change, protests, politics, and a rapidly evolving economy. Amid all the noise, the U.S. Mint quietly struck millions of quarters, but with a twist. Due to a coin shortage and a coin hoarding frenzy that started in the early 60s, the Mint decided to strike quarters without a mint mark. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, all the mints, released coins with no identifying marks that year. To most people, these coins were ordinary daily currency. Spare change, but here's the twist. Not all 1967 quarters were created equal. In the chaos of mass production, a handful of coins emerged with rare striking errors, dramatic die varieties, and uniquely preserved conditions, turning what was once pocket change into national treasure. Now here's where it gets interesting. One of these coins, a flawless, sharply detailed 1967 Washington quarter, sold for an earth-shattering $999,500. Yes, nearly $1 million. The question is, why? Keep watching. We're just getting started. Let's get into the meat of it. What makes this coin so valuable? First, condition. The $1 million coin was graded MS-68 by a reputable grading authority. That means it was nearly perfect, no scratches, no wear, no bag marks. If your coin has even a hint of wear, it won't reach the top tier, but it could still be worth thousands. Second, strike quality. This isn't just about being shiny. It's about detail. You can actually see the crispness in Washington's hair, the feathers on the eagle, and the pristine rims. Most coins from 1967 were rushed through the mint. Quality control. Not exactly a priority. That's why a perfectly struck example is so rare. Third, and this is where things get spicy, errors and varieties. Some 1967 quarters have dramatic doubling on the date and lettering. Others show die breaks, misalignments, or even planchet errors. And these quirks? They make collectors salivate. Here's a question: when was the last time you really looked at your spare change? Because you could be sitting on a quarter that collectors would fight over, and you wouldn't even know it. And remember, it's not just about the rarest coin in the world. Even moderately rare 1967 quarters, with some luster, clean fields, or mild doubling, can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars. Still with me? Good. Because what I'm about to tell you next changes everything. Right now, in kitchens, garages, and dresser drawers across America, there are people unknowingly sitting on a fortune. You might be one of them, but here's the catch: time is not on your side. As more of these quarters get discovered, graded, and sold, the market begins to adjust. The highest prices go to the first to act, the sharpest eyes, the luckiest hands, and the clock is ticking. Imagine this: you wake up tomorrow and find that same quarter, the one you just saw here, is now valued at only half of what it was worth today. Because someone else found theirs first. They listed it. They sold it. They took your spot. Painful, right? But here's the good news: you can still get ahead. Start by examining every 1967 quarter you own. Look for strong details, high luster, no mint mark, and unusual features. If a coin stands out, send it for grading. It might cost a little up front, but what's a small fee compared to a six-figure return? And if you're thinking, I don't have the time, or it's probably nothing, ask yourself this: would you ignore a lottery ticket if it was already scratched off? and said you won, because this isn't about coins anymore. It's about opportunity. It's about living without fear of bills, without the weight of debt, without watching others live the life you've always dreamed of. Don't let that life stay a dream. This isn't just a story about a coin, it's a reminder that hidden value exists in the most unexpected places, sometimes in the palm of your hand. The 1967 Washington quarter without a mint mark proves that fortune favors the curious, the prepared, and the brave. So go ahead. Dig through your change jars. Look inside that old shoebox. Ask your parents or grandparents. Because you might just be one coin away from rewriting your future, and if you do find something rare, don't forget to come back and tell us. Because your story could be the next $1 million moment. A coin so overlooked, so ordinary, that people use it to buy coffee every day, without realizing they just spent a small fortune. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of the 1981 Washington quarter with the Philadelphia Mint Mark, a coin that could transform your life, pay off your mortgage, wipe your debts clean, and put you on the path to financial freedom. This isn't hype. One of these coins recently sold for $991,000, and it didn't come from a museum or a billionaire's collection. It came from someone like you. So before you let another quarter slip through your hands, stay with me. Because in the next 10 minutes, we're going to show you what to look for, why it matters, and how this small piece of metal could change everything. The 1981 Washington quarter is something every American has handled at least once. It was minted in Philadelphia, marked by the tiny letter P, and over 500 million of them were produced. Sounds like a common coin, right? The kind you toss into your glove compartment or feed to a vending machine. But here's the twist. Not all 1981 P quarters are created equal. In fact, a tiny handful were struck with such precision, such rarity, and such hidden errors, they've become $1 million collectibles. Pause and think about that. A coin born in 1981, the same year the first personal computer was sold, now selling for close to $1 million, still think it's just pocket change. Now, let's break down what separates the $991,000 quarter from the other $499 million. First, condition is everything. This isn't about a coin that's been to the laundromat 1,000 times. It's about mint state perfection, a grade of MS 67 or higher. That means the coin looks nearly flawless under magnification, but here's the emotional trigger: fear of missing out. Most people unknowingly spend coins like this every day. They don't check. They don't pause. They don't know what to look for. Are you one of them? Second, watch for errors. Some of these quarters have striking mistakes, misalignments, double dies, or weak strikes, that turn a regular coin into a rare anomaly. Ever see a coin where George Washington looks slightly off-center? That might be a minting error, and it might mean a windfall, and the real jackpot. A proof strike accidentally released into circulation. These coins are minted for collectors only. If one slipped into the wild in 1981, it would be like finding a Picasso at a garage sale. Now you're probably thinking, wait, how would I even recognize all of that? Don't worry. We're getting to that. Let's get specific. If you have a 1981 P quarter, hold on to it and examine 3 things. Point 1, the surface. Is it clean, sharp, almost mirror-like? No scratches, no wear. If so, you're in mint state territory. Point 2, the details. Look at Washington's hair, the eagle's wings, the lettering. Are they crisp and bold, or faded and flat? 3, the mint mark. The P mint mark on 1981 quarters is often subtle. But errors in its placement or doubling can skyrocket value. Now here's where excitement meets urgency: the coin that recently sold for $991,000. It was hidden in a private collection for over 40 years. The owner thought it was just another quarter. They almost gave it away. That's how close this coin came to being lost forever. So ask yourself, how many times have you dismissed a coin without checking? How many chances have you already thrown into a coin jar and forgotten? It's not too late. But the window is closing. As more collectors and dealers start searching, the odds of finding one in the wild are shrinking fast. And here's a funny pattern interrupt for you. Ever notice how your socks disappear in the laundry? Yeah, rare coins are a bit like that. Easy to lose, hard to find, and when you finally do, you wish you'd paid attention earlier that we live in a world where ordinary people are sitting on extraordinary value, not in stocks, not in crypto, but in coins they've had for decades. The 1981 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is proof that your wealth might already be in your hands. All it takes is knowledge. Awareness. Action.so tonight, don't scroll aimlessly through your phone. Don't toss your change aside, instead, pick up your coin jar, grab a magnifier, and look closely, because tomorrow morning, you might wake up knowing that your life just changed because of one single coin. And remember this, if the 1981 P quarter can reach $991,000, what other coins are out there hiding, waiting to be discovered? Do you have a 1987 Washington quarter sitting in a drawer? Maybe it's mixed in with some old coins in a jar, long forgotten. What if I told you that one of these ordinary-looking coins recently sold for an astonishing $988,000? Yes, you heard that right. Not a typo. Not a myth. Nearly $1 million for a single quarter. Before you think, that can't be real, let me ask you a simple question. How many of us have overlooked wealth simply because it didn't look like it? Today, I'm going to show you exactly why this coin is worth so much, how to know if you have one, and what makes it so valuable, and by the end of this video, you may never look at pocket change the same way again. Stay with me, because the real treasure isn't just the coin, it's the knowledge to recognize hidden value before the rest of the world does. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1987. Ronald Reagan is president. Gas is 89 cents a gallon. And the United States Mint is producing hundreds of millions of quarters, business as usual, but somewhere in the Philadelphia Mint, something happened. Something rare. A small number of Washington quarters were struck with such precision and unique characteristics that they would later shock the coin-collecting world. Most of these quarters went unnoticed. They were spent on coffee, parking meters, or tossed into vending machines. But a few, just a few, were set aside. Fast forward to today, collectors and investors are on the hunt for these rare aerostrike or high-grade examples of the 1987 P Washington quarter. The demand is so intense that a certified MS-67 example recently fetched $988,000 at a private auction. Now let me break down why. This quarter has three powerful traits that make it explode in value. First, the condition. Most coins show wear. But those that have been preserved in mint state 67 or higher, with sharp detail, no scratches, and brilliant luster, are like finding a needle in a haystack. Second, the strike error possibilities. Some of these coins were struck slightly off-center or with double dies, mistakes that escaped the mint's quality control and ended up increasing the coin's rarity tenfold. And third, the low population. Out of the hundreds of millions made, only a tiny handful have ever been graded this high. When rarity meets condition, values soar. Here's a question. Have you ever held on to something for years, not realizing it was worth a fortune? Maybe you have one of these quarters and don't even know it. Go check. I'll wait. Just kidding, don't leave now, it gets better. You might be thinking, why would anyone pay that much for a quarter? I could buy a house for less. And you're right. But here's the twist, collectors don't just buy coins. They buy history, rarity, perfection, and above all, bragging rights. When there are only 2 or 3 known in the world, the price becomes whatever someone is willing to pay to own a piece of American legacy, kind of like buying the last donut in the office, but way more expensive. So, what should you do now? First, go through your old change. Look closely at any 1987 quarters with a P mint mark. Inspect the details. Is the coin unusually sharp? Does it look almost untouched? That's a sign. Second, get it evaluated professionally. Don't rely on guesswork. A certified grading service like PCGS or NGC can unlock the coin's real value. Third, don't delay. The market for rare coins is heating up. Investors are pouring money into tangible assets, and high-grade coins are becoming status symbols in private collections across the country. Imagine this, you walk into a dealer's office with an old quarter, and walk out a millionaire. Far-fetched? Not anymore, and here's the most important part, it's not just about the coin. It's about creating a new life. One coin. One moment. One decision can shift your entire financial reality, because behind every $1 million coin is someone who paid attention. Someone who took action. Someone who said, "I'm not going to ignore this." That someone could be you. You see, the 1987 Washington quarter isn't just a piece of metal. It's a reminder. A symbol that wealth can hide in the ordinary, that opportunity doesn't always look shiny, and that your future might just be sitting quietly in a drawer. Let that sink in. Nearly $1 million, sitting silently in your pocket. Now before you think, "Oh come on, a regular quarter can't be worth that," stop right there. Because today, we're about to unravel one of the most extraordinary stories in numismatic history, one that could literally change your life if you're holding the right coin. That we're not talking about ancient gold or coins locked in a museum vault. We're talking about a simple 25-cent piece minted in Denver, 1993. A coin you might have already spent at the grocery store without even knowing it could have made you a millionaire. You want freedom? You want to retire early, travel, maybe even pay off that mortgage? It could all start with this one coin, but of course, there's a catch. Not every 1993 D quarter is worth six figures. Only a few rare survivors carry the right traits. The question is, do you have one, and more importantly, how do you find out before someone else does? Let's go back to 1993. Gas was $1 a gallon. The internet was still a baby. And the US Mint? It was pumping out hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. Most were ordinary, everyday coins meant for everyday use, but among those millions, a handful of quarters from the Denver Mint were struck with subtle errors and rare characteristics that would eventually send collectors into a frenzy. One coin, found in nearly uncirculated condition with a double-die obverse and razor-sharp strike, stunned the numismatic world when it sold for an eye-watering $981,000 in a private auction. Now, let's pause for a second, because I know what you're thinking. What even is a double-die obverse? Great question. Imagine this: the coin's face is slightly doubled. George Washington's profile appears ghosted or shadowed in areas like the date, the word "Liberty," or "In God We Trust." It's almost like a printing glitch, but on metal. And for collectors, that tiny defect is gold. These doubling effects were the result of a minting mishap, a misalignment during the die creation process. Combine that with pristine condition, a full strike, and the Denver Mint mark, and you've got a jackpot coin. Now here's a twist you didn't see coming: many of these valuable quarters were never collected. They were tossed in jars, used in vending machines, or forgotten in drawers, and some. They're still out there, hiding in plain sight, which brings us to a serious question. Have you actually looked at your change lately? Because someone else will. Now imagine this moment. You pull open that old coin jar in your garage. You grab a magnifier, check a few quarters, and suddenly, you see it, that subtle doubling. That D under the date. A coin that looks almost too clean to be from the 90s. And in that instant, everything changes. You feel your heart racing. You're no longer just someone with spare change. You're the owner of a coin that could rewrite your financial future. Retirement covered. College funds for your kids or grandkids handled. That lake house you've been dreaming of. It's now within reach, but you must act now. These coins are becoming harder to find every year. And collectors are more aggressive than ever. Here's what you need to do next: go through your quarters. Look for the 1993 date. Flip it, see if there's a D Mint mark under the year. Examine the coin under bright light. Search for doubling on the words and Washington's face. If you suspect anything unusual, do not clean the coin, get it professionally appraised. And here's a little pattern interrupt: if you're the kind of person who thinks, I'll check later, let me ask you something. If someone handed you a lottery ticket and said, it might be worth $1 million, but only if you scratch it today, would you wait until next week? Didn't think so. This is your ticket. Don't waste another second, because somewhere out there, someone just bought coffee with a coin worth nearly $1 million. And the cashier? Clueless. Don't be the one who missed their chance. Subscribe now, because tomorrow we're uncovering another coin that people throw away every day, yet it could be worth more than your car. Stay sharp. Stay curious. And remember, sometimes the road to wealth starts with the smallest piece of change. Yes, that's nearly $1 million, for a single quarter. Welcome to Rare Coins World, where today we unlock the unbelievable truth about a coin hiding in plain sight. If you're holding on to your old coins, this story could change your life, or cost you a fortune if you ignore it, because the difference between a regular quarter and one worth nearly $1 million, is something most people never notice, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find it, and how to turn your dusty change into generational wealth. But first, a warning, every minute you wait, someone else is discovering the truth and cashing in. Will you be next, or will you be the one who let it slip away? Let's start with the basics. The 1995 Washington quarter was minted in Denver, marked with a small D just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Over 1.1 billion of these were produced. That sounds like a lot, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Out of those billion-plus coins, only a tiny fraction possess the characteristics that make them worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands, and in one rare case, almost $1 million. So what makes your 1995 D quarter potentially so valuable? First, condition is everything. Collectors use a scale called the Sheldon grading scale. The highest grade, MS 70, means the coin is flawless even under 5x magnification. Now here's the kicker, the record-setting 1995 D quarter was graded MS 68+, nearly perfect, with a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp detail. Only a handful in the world come close to that level. Still with me? Good, because now it gets even juicier. There are also known mint errors tied to this coin, double die obverse, off-center strikes, and die cracks, that can skyrocket its value. Picture this, a single quarter with a barely visible doubling in the lettering or a slight misalignment can fetch 5 or even 6 figures at auction. Let me ask you something, when was the last time you really looked at your pocket change? Maybe never. That's exactly what the original owner of this $975,000 coin did. He almost spent it at a gas station. But something about the coin caught his eye. A gleam. A strange texture. He held on to it. Got it graded. And the rest is history. Now here's a pattern interrupt for you. If quarters could talk, do you think they'd say, "Spend me on laundry," or "Hold me, I'm worth more than your house"? Think about it. Coming up, I'll reveal the exact telltale signs that your 1995 D quarter might be the $1 million jackpot. We'll also explore where people are cashing in their coins, and how one small-town collector walked into a coin shop and walked out with a 6-figure check. You don't want to miss that. Let's talk specifics. If your 1995 D quarter is in mint condition, shows no wear under magnification, has full strikes, and perhaps even a recognized error, you may be sitting on a goldmine. Here's what to check for: mint luster, a brilliant, untouched shine, sharp edges, bold rims with no wear, doubling. Look at "In God We Trust," and the date. Off-centering, even a few degrees can mean thousands. Die breaks, tiny cracks that appear like veins, rare and valuable. Now, where do you go if you think you've struck gold? First, get it professionally graded. Reputable services like PCGS or NGC can verify the coin's condition. Without that certification, buyers won't take it seriously, and you might lose out on tens of thousands. Next, consider auction houses. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections are platforms where rare coins have changed lives. But be warned, prices can spike fast. Blink, and someone else will outbid you. Still not sure it's worth your time? Let me paint a picture. You're sipping your morning coffee. You turn on the news. And there it is, a story about a man in Kansas who just sold his quarter for nearly $1 million. Your jaw drops. Why? Because you had the same coin, but you gave it to a cashier last week. That feeling? That's regret. And I don't want you to experience it. Now is your moment. Go through your old jars, drawers, and sock boxes. Call your parents. Your grandparents. Tell them to do the same. Because these coins are vanishing, and the ones that remain are rising in value by the day. In a world where financial freedom feels out of reach for many, one rare coin could be the key to unlocking the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. Not a fantasy. Not hype. A fact backed by auction records, grading statistics, and real-life stories, and here's the final twist, coins like the 1995 D Washington quarter are just the beginning. There are more out there. Some even more valuable. But only for those who know what to look for. That's someone's reality. Right now, a 1998 Washington quarter minted in Philadelphia, that little P mark you often overlook, has shocked collectors and investors alike by reaching a jaw-dropping market value of $970,000. Yes, that's nearly $1 million for a single quarter you may have unknowingly spent at a gas station or vending machine. So, here's the question. Do you have one of these hiding in plain sight? This is not just a story about a coin. It's a wake-up call. Because while most people are scrolling on their phones, others are quietly becoming wealthy by doing one thing, checking their pocket change. Let's break it all down. To understand why the 1998 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is making waves, we need to look beyond the obvious. At first glance, it's an ordinary coin. Minted in Philadelphia, it features George Washington's profile on the obverse and the iconic eagle on the reverse. Millions were produced. So, what makes one coin from that batch worth more than most people's entire retirement fund? The answer is rarity through error, a perfect storm of flaw and fortune. In select 1998 P quarters, there exists a striking anomaly. A dramatic double die error that causes George Washington's features to be doubled, particularly around the eye, lips, and motto. These errors are extremely rare and almost never caught in circulation. They were accidents, born from a misalignment in the minting process. And as collectors know, error coins are not defects, they are treasures. Now here's where it gets interesting. In pristine condition, these coins become exponentially more valuable. The one that recently rocked the market. It was a 1998 P quarter graded MS-68, an incredibly rare mint state grade. Nearly flawless, preserved like a time capsule, and that's why someone paid $970,000 for it. Still think your change drawer is worthless? Let's shift gears for a moment. Have you ever walked past a yard sale and laughed at the old stuff laying out on the table? What if I told you that same table might be holding enough coins to buy a house in California, or 3 in Texas? Sometimes, life-changing opportunities don't come with fanfare. They jingle quietly in your pocket. Now before you run to flip your couch cushions, take a breath. Don't go offering your kids $5 to dig through your car's cup holders, although, let's be honest, they probably will do it for free if you tell them there's treasure involved. So, what should you look for? First, the mint mark. It must be a 1998 quarter with a P on the obverse side, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. No P mark. Not your coin. Second, check for errors, especially signs of doubling on the face, words, or details. This could mean a double die variety, which is where the real money lies. Third, and most importantly, condition matters. If your coin has scratches, grime, or signs of wear, its value drops significantly. But if it's in near perfect shape, no visible damage, bright luster, you might be sitting on a fortune. The top-graded 1998 P quarter was professionally graded by PCGS, one of the most respected coin grading companies in the world. Without that grading, it might have sold for a few hundred. With it, nearly $1 million. And here's the kicker, there may still be uncirculated examples out there. Coins that were tucked into drawers, hidden in old envelopes, passed down unknowingly through generations. They're out there. And they are waiting to be discovered, which begs the question, why hasn't yours been found yet? Let this be your turning point. You've heard the stories. You've seen the headlines. Now it's your move. Go through your coins. Ask your parents. Check the boxes you haven't opened in years. Your next vacation home, your next investment portfolio, your early retirement, it could all begin with a single overlooked quarter, because here's the truth. Every wealthy person you know took a chance. They paid attention when others didn't. And while most people chase trends, smart collectors hunt for value hiding in plain sight. The 1998 P Washington quarter isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of what's possible when you stop ignoring the ordinary. And you know what? Maybe it's not just about the money. Maybe it's about the thrill of the hunt. The joy of discovering that you've been sitting on history all along. So here's what I want you to do right now, pull out your change jar. Search for that 1998 p quarter. And if you think you found something special, get it graded immediately. Don't clean it. Don't mishandle it. Just protect it and contact a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. The worst case scenario, you get a little excitement. The best case, you become the next story in coin collecting history. But wait, did you know there's another quarter from the 1990s that's quietly climbing in value, and most people don't even know it exists? In our next video, we'll uncover the shocking truth about that coin and how one man made over $50,000 from it overnight. Subscribe now, because you won't want to miss what's coming.